Hey guys, welcome to the 1 p.m. webinar for Catch Return on September the 27th. This is Preston, one of the traders in the office. Today might be probably going to be a little shorter than usual. I got to run out of here, and I promised my dad I would help him with, he's a boat broker slash salesman, and he has a boat show, and promised I would help him set up because it starts tomorrow going through the weekend. So it might be a little shorter today as I need to get out of here. But just wanted to take you through a couple pairs, see any possible setups, and then call it a day. So I know we were looking at this Euro USD. We had a nice push down. It was starting its march back to the upside. It seems like at least for these past 2 days, we've had a nice, move coming later in the session, which doesn't happen all that often. What I mean by that is, 4 hours ago, so starting at 9, 10 a.m. Our time over here, it started another run to the upside, and it's moved a good, 55 pips or so. And you don't always see this happen in the euro dollar at this point in time in the day. Usually the moves are happening during the euro session, going into the U.S. Opening of the New York Stock Exchange and our markets. But we had a nice little run up, and I was saying look for this thing to possibly come back across. Might be a short. I'm not sure what news had occurred because it got rather wicky in this region. It wasn't on the screen again. We're setting up our offices, our new office, putting up projectors and all these things, so that's where my main focus is right now. Just getting this up and running, and then hopefully by beginning next week, it'll be back to the screen for all of us traders, 100%. Anywho, there was a slight little short that would have reached the top of the ocean, possibly right here. Didn't pay, heavily, but at the max around 40 pips or so. But other than that, if you were trying to scalp this, you could have picked off this run as well. If you the news and figure out its trend, and it would have got you 60 or so, but wouldn't have swung any of this just because I don't like the look at it. I would have scalped anything in here, and it would have been because I know we talked about another short after price had marched its way back across the ocean, and then a possible short could have come, and it did. It just didn't pay or didn't trend very hard. And I can tell back at that time it probably got to around mean value, maybe a little further, and then got wicky for 3 hours. Then this wick was pretty extreme until it figured out its direction and went up, 60, 70 pips. So nothing really there on the euro dollar unless you were looking at a scalp. Nothing in terms of a swing. You know what? I'll just bring the scalping. Set up here, and we'll just go off of this. So as you can see here, two nice little runs on this euro dollar. So we had this move down, coming back to around this region. If you're looking at the scalping screen, they were pretty nice. They were about hour pushes, and then a breath, and then maybe like a 35, 40-minute push, a little 20-pip breath, and then a final drop of 30 minutes or so. Then it kind of changed directions, and then started to drop again, until whatever happened at this time period, it literally pushed up. So if you missed this first run, yeah, you would have been sitting probably around here, upper ocean. There's a nice second push on the 5-minute, probably 20 pips or so, 25, around there, maybe slightly more if you got a really good entry and exit. But that was basically your only two real pushes. They're nice. Pretty clean, pushed rather hard on the 5-minute, breathed nicely, and then did it one more time. And now it finally looks like we might be just heading into the range, which it usually does in this time frame. So go to the opposite of this euro dollar. What is this? Oh, that doesn't matter. So if we're looking here, kind of the exact opposite as the Euro USD, which I say probably every day. Yeah, my mouse is having difficulty here. Move. Hold on one sec. That's a little better. Okay, so instead of coming off the bottom, or coming at the top after the big push like we had in the euro dollar and breathing down, euro dollar obviously breathed up. And in this case, there would have been maybe a slight possible trade to the upside right here, but it was fast. It was quick. Wouldn't have looked to swing it. Anything in the scalp in this region would have been, you know, an okay trade. Even up in here, as this got to more upper ocean, to scalp something to the short side. And it's kind of the same thing that happened on the euro dollar, but to the opposite direction. Nice little push, breath, and then a final little push. But pretty identical in terms of the type of movement you see in both pairs. They're just the reverse of each other. So here's finally on this USD CAD. Remember, we look at the day, we're very, very upper ocean. It looks like it might be starting its way back to the downside. So if I'm looking at a scalp, I like what I see here. I want to see some rotation and these bears fully fall off for a possible scalp to the upside. If I'm looking to swing anything, I'm not going to be swinging this to the long side. What I want to see before I do anything, and it will be a short on a swing. So if I'm looking for a scalp, it's long. It's trekked this way across the ocean. From this big push down over the last 12 hours or so, we see ocean starting to turn around on this hourly chart. We know the daily is very, very far upper ocean. We're looking for a possible longer-term trade to the short side when it fully stops and starts trending back down. And we can see, hopefully, this is the first little start to it. So I'm looking for probably another push up that could be scalpable. And then I want to see it move even further down before I look at taking a longer-term position. Because I want to make sure this daily chart is actually confirmed to the short side. So right now we can see Cobra is still under. We lost a lot of bulls, and we see velocity coming down. All signs for us that there will be a short, coming up, but we don't want to jump it, because if it catches ground again to go to the long side, it could spur up another 200 pips or something like that, and then start to turn. This is why you want to make sure and be correct when you're looking at these longer-term position plays. Could produce a couple hundred pips getting in a swing, or even 3, 4, 5 days of a position to the short side. So you want to wait for that to come back around. If you're looking at a scalp, we're obviously looking for this to set up in a long trade. So we want Cobra to jump and catch it somewhere down here, and these to completely fall off as far as our bars on high and low. We want the bears to leave, and bulls start to gain some steam in there. Hopefully we get something like that to come in the future. But again, on the daily, we know we are very far upper ocean, so I don't want to play a swing trade long at that point in time. Look at this Aussie dollar just keeps moving to the upside. It never even gave the entry obviously was probably not here because you would have been pointed straight down. So somewhere maybe in this region, but then again you would have been sitting at the mean. To catch this down here, you would have had to jump the ocean on it turning, because it wouldn't have been turning right around this region. Probably would have started turning and been flat somewhere in here. So there where the entry would have been, but it didn't really give you another one if you missed this first initial 6-hour push. It never gave you another entry. it kind of got held up at the mean, but continued to trek its way back across to the upper levels. So definitely don't want to just trade it now to the long side. Want to see something come back down and then look to get in there for a couple hours, or just ride that 5 minute and get in and out on the 5 minute chart. So there's the Aussie dollar, and we've had a huge push to the downside in this Euro NZD. It looked like it was getting held up in these levels for quite a few days now. It looks like it finally, and we can tell it finally broke this level right here and just started pushing. So that's nice to see. And look at this for a possible swing, or scalp, I should say. Let's just look at the daily. Okay, so no possible swing. We don't want to swing this. For a scalp, yes, it looks like it might be setting up. After a few more hours with some blue candles, we can push on, back down on the hourly chart and get that next little push to the downside. If you're looking at the daily, we can see we've already trekked across the river. We're lower ocean here, so we're expecting in the long term it will push up. But if we can get another nice little push down somewhere to this level, 55, or I'm sorry, 53 or 54, that'd be nice. Yeah, so I got a question. When are the best times to swing trade? Depends on the pair, but for the most part, I'd be going anytime in the morning. I know you're out here just in Irvine down the street, so our time is the best. Say you're trading the euro dollar, usually moves at around like 11:50, 15-ish p.m. It kind of stops. And right around midnight, or a little after midnight, it'll pick back up. And I just know this because Vlad, this is more of a scalp, but he scalps and he knows the exact time frames when to trade that euro dollar, like the back of his hand. And he's told me from like 11:15 to like 11:45, it moves, stops for a second, then at 12:30ish to 1, moves again. And then right at 2:15 for the good amount of time after, it'll start pushing and do its major trend push. And usually it reverses one time in a session as far as the scalp. But so I mean the best time I would go from like 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. So for us it is the middle of the night, but those are the best times to trade any type of trading. Unless you're positioned and you're just holding on through the days. You don't have to be up on the screen for 24 hours. That's obvious because we can't do that. But, yeah, to swing, I would look at those time frames. And to scalp, even same time frames, but you'll be in and out. So, say you get up at 4 a.m., there might be a good 4 hours of movement for you to trade off of. Later. So yeah, Euro NZD had a nice push to the downside today. It went about 125 pips from these upper levels, 5,600 to 54.75, so 100 to 125 pips. And this initial break was perfect. Obviously, if we're doing anything, we would want to scalp this, but at the same time, the entry would have been somewhere up here. It went sideways before this push down. You would have found an in, somewhere on these candles as it treks across. Find your in at the upper ocean, and then put a short on. If you're seeing this, bowl down super hard, even though the daily is lower ocean, a scalp can be, 2 hours. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to get, and for me, a lot of the times it turns into a longer-term trade. Not days or anything, but a couple hours, or an hour and a half, or 2.5 hours, just because there's still so much momentum. I can withstand these little breaths and continue down because my in was up here. So I would have been up, 56, around